and also to add my voice to this very, very important amendment. And for me, the times we are going through in Nigeria is really very challenging times. We talk about banditry, kidnapping, and a lot of other things. If we have the opportunity to interview all these people critically, we'll see that something must have really gone wrong. And when we look at the case of psychiatry in our polity, people will see that people usually it's not some ailment people want to identify with. But even in this room, there are lots of people going through things that are psychological without them even aware. Until it goes through, I see that SP is looking at me. I'm serious.
Yeah, do you know of anyone? Okay, go ahead.
When you see people burst out in sudden anger, that, people will believe that, what did I say? It could have stemmed from something that, the person slept with and woke up with. But what we see in most cases that, they actually need psychiatric need, is when you actually see them, that they have really gone into a mental state, that it has really debilitated into that, the family cannot handle. But at times, when you look at cases like schizophrenia and bipolar diseases, all they needed is just little medication. And when they get the right treatment early, such people can become very productive. And apart from this amendment, I think that Nigeria has come to the crossroad where we have to look at mental health issue in a very wholesome manner. We have to look at it. When we look at our youth now, most of them are abusing even cough syrup. So, and all this, they will tell you, is through joblessness. And all these things lead to different things and different reactions in society. And I think what our colleague has done, and as usual, I want to really commend Senator Lori, I don't know where he is, for bringing this about, and I believe that all our colleagues should give it their ample support. Thank you, Mr.
Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, my highly respected and distinguished colleagues, I just want to throw a kite. As the title of the bill is, it looks misleading. It seems as if you are amending an existing bill, while actually what you are doing is to create another institution by amendment of the bill so that another institution can be created. So I thought, wouldn't it be better, to say a bill for an act to establish the Psychiatric Hospital Management Board, to amend the Psychiatric Management Board to establish a federal neurosurgical hospital in the North Central Zone of Nigeria and for related matters. That's what I think it should be. Because if you just say, you are just amending the act, while the real body is talking about establishment of an institution, I think there should be an amendment, to the...
Well, Leader, my understanding is if it's only when you amend the present act that you can establish, and it's like constitution amendment. Somebody could sponsor a bill trying to amend a certain section of the constitution, but you still just say it's a constitution amendment. So I don't know, but I think previously we amended some of this kind of agencies to allow for introduction or establishment of new institutions within the law. So, but the sponsor of the bill, Senator Brown Lurogbe, you can shed some light on what the leader has said.
Thank you very much. I think the current act listed the existing 8 that are established, and that's what we are amending to allow that. However, the leader consulted with me. That can still be taken in terms of the long title of this bill at the committee consideration and when we are presenting the report. So that's my view, Mr. President. It's about the long title of the amendment. That is what the leader has brought my attention to. And
Sorry? Sorry, I didn't get that.
Sir, I said the current bill listed the 8 existing institutions under schedule, and that is what we are amending to be able to allow for an additional one to be. So, but the title is what the leader is alluding to, that the title of the current amendment will reflect the establishment of the new one. But
Yeah, I think we better leave it as it is, because if you say establishment, then we are not amending that law. Unless you are saying establishment and amendment, and I don't know. Deputy Chief Whip.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President, distinguished colleagues. I think it's in the long title that the objective of that exercise should be stated. But for the title, as it is an amendment of the existing act. But when you come to talk about the long title, of course, you say to make provision for establishment of so or amending so section.
Okay. Is anybody against the bill? Those in favor that this bill be now read a second time, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. The clerk of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, a bill for an act to amend the Psychiatric Hospital Management Act number 92, 1979, and for related matters 2021, SB 376, second reading.
A bill for an act to amend the Psychiatric Hospital Management Act number 92, 1979, and for related matters 2021, second reading taken, and the bill is referred to the Committee on Health to report back within 4 weeks. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, my highly respected and distinguished colleagues, the sixth order of the day, the second reading of the Federal College of Precision Agriculture and Irrigation Technology, Establishment, etc. Bill 2021. Distinguished colleagues will recall that the bill was read the first time in this chamber on Wednesday, 10th June 2020. Mr. President, you may wish to invite distinguished Senator Ibrahim Hassan Hadeja to move the motion for the bill to be read the second time.
Distinguished Senator Ibrahim Hassan Hadeja.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Ibrahim Hassan Hadeja, representing Jigawa Northeast. Mr. President and my distinguished colleagues, permit me to lead the debate on the subject bill which will get for the first time on 24th of March 2020. Mr. President, irrigation is the single most critical factor in agricultural production and one of the key human activities sustaining civilization as we know it today. While precision agriculture uses proven information-based management of agricultural systems to apply technologies and methods to optimize production by accounting for uncertainties and variables within the production cycle. Combined, these two factors are the only guarantee to food security for a country like Nigeria, given our demography and future growth outlook. Because by 2020, the global population, spurred mostly by developing countries like us, will reach 9.7 billion. So farmers need to improve output by 100% to cover the current deficit and meet the anticipated demand. Mr. President, by FAO accounts, even the current world population of approximately 7.7 billion is simply not sustainable without irrigated agriculture, because out of the approximately 1.3 billion hectares of land cultivated globally, the 20% irrigated provides for over 45% of all production. And irrigated crop yields are typically 230% above rain-fed cultivation. Water as a resource is getting very scarce, and climate change and the environmental degradation makes it imperative for a more efficient utilization of available land and water resource using new technologies like drip irrigation and fertigation, rainwater harvest and conservation, soil testing for appropriate nutrient application, and meteorological input in timing of planting. Mr. President, surface irrigation, which is the predominant system in use in Nigeria, has long been replaced by sprinkler or drip irrigation in most advanced agricultural systems because of efficiency, precision of application, and the need to conserve a dwindling global freshwater reserve. And we need to start migrating our farmers to these sustainable methods before environmental factors catch us unawares. Drip or micro irrigation is the new standard, providing for increase in water efficiency of between 50 to 90%, energy consumption saving of 30%, or 100% if you are using solar drip systems, and reduction in fertilizer usage of about 30%. It is for this reason, Mr. President, that the proposed institution becomes imperative to train a new breed of agronomists, farmers, and extension workers who can be grounded in modern agricultural processes, focusing on sustainable irrigation methods and basic precision agricultural practices that can be passed on to small-scale farmers at the grassroots level. The broad objectives of the proposed college include developing down-to-earth and hands-on academic and extension strategies relying on practical fieldwork to offer certification in various irrigation techniques and conceptually proven agricultural technologies that optimize yield with minimum input. To offer an agricultural curriculum that will focus on practical field-specific courses to impact basic to advanced skill sets in various sustainable water conservation methods in line with global best practices in sustainable agriculture. Training in handling and maintenance of small handheld implements and machinery to scale up mechanization in smallholder agriculture using affordable motorized equipment specifically designed for the small-scale farmer. To reorient and update existing extension workers on the rudiments of precision farming, including basic soil testing to determine fertilizer blend and quantity, appropriate seed variety selection, plant spacing, planting timing using meteorological input, reduced targeted pesticide application, and biological options in pest control appropriate to zero-tillage farming and minimizing loss in harvesting and threshing. Mr. President, the proposed site of the college in Yamidi, Auyo local government in Jigawa State, was constructed in pursuance of the 5th National Development Plan 1980 to 1985 of the Shagari regime as the Federal College of Agriculture and Irrigation Technology. But sadly, it never took off as the successive military administration abandoned the project. In 1993, following the creation of Jigawa State, the government of the day took over the abandoned site and established a State College of Agriculture, which has since been relocated to a permanent site, once again leaving the Yamidi site unoccupied. Mr. President, the Jigawa State government has graciously agreed to make available the old site for siting of the proposed Federal College of Irrigation and Precision Agriculture, obviating the need for expensive new infrastructure for the institution. The fact that the infrastructure was originally designed for an irrigation technology institute means the existing soil laboratories, large expanse of demonstration farms, and seed beds are all available for immediate use with minimal cost implication. Moreover, the overall campus is located within the area of the 25,000-hectare Hadeja Valley Irrigation Project, with available water resource from the main and secondary canals for use by the college. Mr. President, the proposed college also has assurances of support from private sector mega agri investors within the state, including Dangote Rice Mills and Great Northern Agriculture, who have a vested interest in increasing the productivity of their host farmers for sustainable raw material supply to their processing plants. Mr. President, against the backdrop of this administration's clarion call for reprioritizing the agricultural sector and improving the national food security situation, Nigeria has no option than to focus on increasing productivity in a sustainable and environmentally responsible manner to guarantee competitiveness. And the only way to achieve this is by adopting proven science-based innovations in agricultural practice. In line with our Order 77, Subsection 3, the financial implication for the establishment of this college is hereby attached. I therefore urge my distinguished colleagues to support this bill so that we can join the League of Food Self-Sufficient Nations and wean ourselves of the food importation addiction that continues to cripple our economy and hold back local production. Thank you all. I so move.
Senator Mohammed Sanu.
Thank you, Mr. President. My name is Muhammad Sani Musa, representing Niger East Senatorial District. I stand to support this bill wholeheartedly because what we need in this country today is agriculture. We cannot continue to live in a country where the population is not controlled and we are not doing anything about the food production which will also be a major security risk for the country. So what we need is a precision agriculture like the one mentioned by the sponsor of this bill, because every part of this country, we have a problem. We have that problem of water conservation. We don't conserve water in this country. And with such an institution, there will be experts that will learn a lot and also help in developing on how we can conserve water resources for the benefit of producing food for all. So I sincerely support this bill, and I believe that my colleagues will see reason to also support for the establishment of this institution.
Senator Sabi, online.
Thank you, Mr. President, distinguished colleagues. Aliu Sabi Abdullahi, Niger North. Mr. President, I want to add my voice to this very important bill and to urge that we give it approval to be read the second time. In doing so, Mr. President, let me just quickly say that the choice of a Federal College of Precision Agriculture and Irrigation Technology is timely, because the entire world is facing the challenges of climate change, which means resources, especially water, is becoming an issue. And so precision agriculture is to enable you deploy resources to grow either crops or even livestock using precisely what these crops or livestock will require to grow without any waste. And this is the new technology that is defining agriculture, because the artificial intelligence and all the other new technologies are helping us to really understand production cycles and resource requirement. So this college definitely will help us to at least key into this new emerging technology, especially that most of our frontline states, Jigawa, where this college is going to be located, is in the semi-arid region. And so water availability is a key challenge. And of course, increasingly, most of our states are facing increasing water shortage. So this college is required because it's going to help us to train the middle-level manpower we require to key into precision agriculture. With this, I urge that we allow the bill to be read the second time.
Is anybody against the bill? You are against the bill, leader? Okay.
Mr. President, I rise actually in support of this bill, but I would want to maybe bring to the attention of the sponsor of this bill, that there is a tendency, whenever we are talking about agriculture, to forget the most fundamental factor in agricultural production, and that is the soils, not just the land, it's the soils. Whatever, agriculture is a product of actually 4 elements. These 4 are the land, and agriculture is the soil, which is vital, on the land equation. Then there is sunlight, and water and labor is the 4th element. Whatever you do about water, if you don't have good soils, there is no need more for the water. So if you are going to come and establish a college for precision agriculture, consideration of the soils as a fundamental element that should be considered in the triumvirate of soil, water, and sunlight has to be there. Therefore, it is very important right up in the show to say that Federal College of Education, Federal College of Precision Agriculture, Soils and Irrigation Technology. Because whatever irrigation technology you are going to come up, if you have hard soils, or you have soils that have nematodes, or you have salinity in the soil, soils that have not been treated, you are going to run into a problem. So I think it's important to have soils as a component, a major component of the issues that are in the curriculum of this particular college. I just want to...
Well, to some extent, I have some background in agriculture to some extent, not exactly an agriculturalist, but when we say precision agriculture and is specifically talking of how to use economy, prudence, and proper management of our water resources, definitely it implies that you need to prepare the soil. And without even mentioning it in the name, I don't think anyone will just go and start putting water in land or soils that definitely will not give any strong yield to justify the expenditure. But I agree with you, soil is essential. The sponsor of the bill can give us more enlightenment given the issue raised by the leader. Senator Ibrahim Hassan Eja.
Thank you, Mr. President. In fact, in the lead debate, there's almost 2 or 3 references to the issue of soil. Precision agriculture, actually the first target is the soil type itself. That is where you are using soil, because we now have agriculture that obviates the need for soil completely. So, Mr. President, an example of that is the soil testing that I mentioned, which they will teach. Now you have, instead of sending soil samples to a lab, there are very small soil test kits that are given to farmers that you can get a result within a matter of hours. And this is important, Mr. President, because of the fact that that is the actual fundamental in precision agriculture. A farmer with 10 acres of land in a developed country like Brazil will have to take samples from over 20 different parts of his farm and send it and analyze it, so that when he's applying fertilizer, he is not only applying the right amount based on the deficiency that he has seen, but he's actually applying the right blend of the 3 components of agriculture. And you even have soil application systems that automatically do that for you with the aid of technology. As opposed to a situation, Mr. President, what we have in Nigeria, where for the whole country, from Cross River to Yobe to Jigawa, you are supplied with basically one blend of fertilizer, 15, 15, 15, or 20, 10, 10, to be applied in swampy soil, in sandy soil, in loamy soil. What this intends to do, Mr. President, is the trainer will focus on actually making a soil analysis, even on a farm, even if we bring it down to local government basis alone, you will see that output is increased significantly. Because some soils, when we did testing in Jigawa about 12, 13 years ago during the Salmon region, we did a soil sample. We found out that some farmers were actually over-fertilizing their soil. They apply fertilizer, when they don't see output, they apply more. So what we had to do was actually not fertilize for almost 2 seasons, or add lime to cut back on fertilizer. So it's actually inbuilt, Mr. President, and we can assume that precision agriculture will take care of the soil component. Thank you.
I think in the previous bill, in the long title, maybe that could be included, but I want to inform us that NALDA is training soil doctors and extension workers. Recently, I think last month, I was in Maiduguri to attend the graduation ceremony of the passing out of about 600 trained youth who are now soil doctors, and the main function of the soil doctors is to be testing the soils, and this kind of training will be given to our youth, particularly our farmers all over the country. They started with Borno in the northeast, and I believe that there is need to understand what the soil is asking for, rather than just giving it inputs. So maybe we look at the long title and see how we can accommodate what the leader has raised. So is there anyone against the bill? Those in favor that this will be now read a second time, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. Clerk of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, a bill for an act to establish the Federal College of Precision Agriculture and Irrigation Technology, Yamidi, Jigawa State, and for other matters connected there with 2021 SB 411, second reading.
A bill for an act to establish the Federal College of Precision Agriculture and Irrigation Technology, Yamidi, Jigawa State, and for other matters connected there with 2021 second reading taken Is this supposed to go to Committee on Agriculture or Tertiary? Which one? Sorry? The colleges of education, agriculture, federal universities of agriculture, are they under NUC? Then in that case, this should also go to agriculture. So the bill is referred to the Committee on Agriculture and Rural Development to report back within 4 weeks. Thank you. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, my highly respected and distinguished colleagues, the seventh order of the day is the second reading of the Federal Orthopedic Hospital, Dekina Establishment Structural Bill 2020. Distinguished Senator will recall that the bill was read the first time in this distinguished chamber on Wednesday, 7th October 2020. Mr. President, you may wish to invite distinguished Senator Issa Jibrin to move the motion for the bill to be read the second time.
Distinguished Senator Issa Jibrin.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I want to thank you very much for giving me this opportunity. Please permit me to lead the debate on this very important bill, which seeks to amend the Orthopedic Hospital Management Board Act to provide for the establishment of the Orthopedic Hospital, Dekina, Kogi State, to provide specialized orthopedic treatment and related medical services, and to complement the medical services offered by the Kogi State University Teaching Hospital. The bill was read for the first time in this House chamber on Wednesday, 7th October 2020. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, Kogi East Senatorial District, where the hospital is proposed to be sited, comprises 9 local government areas: Ankpa, Dekina, Basa, Ibaji, Ida, Igalamela, Dolu, Ofu, Oloma Borough, and Omala local government, with a population of over 2 million. Kogi East Senatorial District, like many others in the North Central geopolitical zone, is primarily an agrarian economy. The nature of the occupation of the people entails orthopedic hazards, especially as it relates to palm fruits harvest, forestry, and similar activities. A research published in Nigerian Journal of Orthopedics and Trauma 2020 reported that between 2017 and 2019, not less than 3,918 farmers in Kogi East fell off palm trees, leading to severe bone crisis, with 98% being treated by traditional bone setters. Apart from farm hazards, there is an increasing incidence of road traffic accidents and gunshot wounds, which with concomitant major vascular and bony damage in the senatorial district. Unfortunately, many of the victims do not have access to orthopedic hospitals and are forced to embrace the services of traditional bone healers or setters. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, the need for the establishment of the orthopedic hospital in Dekina is amplified by the challenges and complications associated with traditional bone setting. Traditional bone setters lack of knowledge of anatomy, physiology, or radiography, has brought about limb and life-threatening complications. Known extreme complications associated with traditional bone setting include acute compartment syndrome, tetanus, deformities, and eventually death, or in some cases death. Other complications include malunion and non-union of fractures, soft tissue infections, chronic unreduced joint dislocations, joint stiffness and ankylosis, septic arthritis, pressure sores and blisters, and all sorts of, leaving most affected patients who are young and in their productive years disabled at very young ages. I therefore urge Mr. President and my respected colleagues to support the second reading of this bill to cater for the orthopedic health needs of the senatorial district and Kogi State generally, as well as some of the neighboring states in Nigeria, as enshrined in Chapter 4 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, 1999, as amended, in line with Order 773 of the Senate Standing Orders 2015, as amended, a compendium of financial implications of the establishment of Orthopedic Hospital, Dikina, Kogi State, is hereby attached. President, distinguished colleagues, I want to thank you very much for your rapt attention. I so move.
Senator Sadiq Umar.
Thank you, Mr. President. My distinguished colleagues, I am Sadiq Sulaiman Umar. I represent the good and decent people of Kwara North, and we all are. I rise to move that the bill for an act to amend the Orthopedic Hospital Management Board Act to provide for the establishment of the Orthopedic Hospital Dekina be read for the second time. Mr. President, like we've always said, consistently, healthcare delivery is a key element to help the production of our people and invariably the development of the country. And interestingly, the way people are falling off palm trees in Kogi State, over 4,000 farmers, based on the statistics of 2017-2019, calls for an urgent need to have an orthopedic hospital to attend to these cases, in addition to other sources of bone damages, so as to reduce the complications that is associated with lack of proper medical care, as they now, they seek help from traditional bone setters. Mr. President, my distinguished colleagues, I urge us all to support this bill to be read for the second time. Thank you.
Senator Binos Dauda.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'm Binos Dauda Yaro, Adamawa South. I rise to also support this bill, and basically because health is number one, and the need for specialist healthcare facilities is imperative. I have personal experience of a fracture that was referred to an FMC, and the setting was not done properly, and it led to a deformity. And eventually we had to take that patient outside the country to Egypt, to be specific, for proper treatment. So for this reason, I support this bill, and I urge my colleagues to support it. Thank you.
Is anybody against the bill? Those in favor that this bill be now read a second time, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. Clerk of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, a bill for an act to amend the Orthopedic Hospitals Management Board Act, CAP 010, laws for the Federation of Nigeria, 2004, to provide for the establishment of the Federal Orthopedic Hospital, Dekina, and for other related matters, 2021, SB 516, second reading.
A bill for an act to amend the Orthopedic Hospitals Management Board Act, CAP 010, laws of the Federation of Nigeria 2004 to provide for the establishment of the Federal Orthopedic Hospital Dekina and for other related matters, 2021, second reading taken. And the bill, no, not tertiary institutions, that should be health. Is this supposed to be health? Committee on Health. Yes, not tertiary institutions. The bill is referred to the Committee on Health to report back within 4 weeks. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, my highly respected and distinguished colleagues, the eighth order of the day is the second reading of the Federal College of Forestry, Technology and Research, Akwankwa, Establishment Central Bill 2021. Distinguished senators will recall that the bill was read the first time in this distinguished chamber on Wednesday, 13th November 2019. Mr. President, you may wish to invite distinguished Senator Gershom Bass to move the motion for the bill to be read the second time.
Distinguished Senator Gershom Bassi, the acting minority leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. My name is Gershom Bassi, Senator representing Cross River South and acting minority leader. Mr. President, my distinguished colleagues, permit me to once again lead the debate on this essential bill that seeks to provide for the establishment of the Federal College of Forestry, Technology and Research in Akamkpa, Cross River State. I sponsored this bill in the 8th Assembly, and it went through public hearings on the 21st of May 2019 and enjoyed overwhelming support from the public. Unfortunately, the House of Representatives could not concur before the end of the 8th Assembly. Distinguished colleagues, permit me to give an abridged version of my 8th Assembly lead debate in order to save time. The establishment of the College of Forestry, Technology and Research in Akamkpa is long overdue because Cross River State and Akamkpa local government in particular has 40% of Africa's richest closed canopy tropical rainforest. This forest harbors the largest unlogged tropical rainforest in Africa, and it is the home to a wide range of rare species of plants and animals found only in Akamkpa, like the drill monkeys, the grey-neck rockfowl, and the preyous red Columbus monkey. It is also the richest site in the whole of Africa for butterflies. Mr. President, experts from various institutes of forestry across the world come to Akamkpa to conduct research on distinctive forest species. This means the establishment of a College of Forestry in Akamkpa will ensure that forestry professionals have a proper base for their research work at the locations of their research materials. The main objective of the college is to carry out research, training, extension, and dissemination of findings in forestry technology, development, applied science, commerce, and management. In line with Order 77, Sub 3, the Senate Standing Rules, please find attached a compendium of the financial implications for the establishment of the college. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, in view of the fact that this bill had passed through all the legislative stages in the 8th Assembly, I humbly urge you to support this bill in its entirety and forward it to the House of Reps for concurrence. Thank you, and I so submit.
Senator Francis Fadausi.
Mr. President, I like to support the establishment of Federal College of Forestry and Technology in Akamkpa, Cross Rivers, being sponsored by Senator Gombe. I happen to live in this area for years, and it has been the said thick forest in Nigeria, where Okuiboku paper mill was established just to supply the same Akamkpa, to supply Okuiboku paper mill. But today, it was not properly maintained. But with this bill, if passed, the federal government will gain a lot from the college production, particularly the forestry and the thick forest, instead of importing pulp papers and so on from abroad. Today, we are importing almost all the papers from abroad, and it's consuming a lot on our foreign exchange. If that college is established, automatically Nigeria, in the next few years, Nigeria will not waste our foreign reserve on importation of paper and pulp papers. And the printing business will continue to gain and thrive in the country. With this and others, I support the establishment of the bill to be established, particularly in Akamkpa, Cross River, so so I support.
Senator Nicholas Tofomo, Ondo South.
Our Senate President, sir, Senator Nicholas Tofomo, representing Ondo South. This bill is a very good bill. Establishing Federal College of Technology and Research in Akankwa will be a very good start in the forest, in the rainforest region, because there are a lot of trees here and there, and in the last 5-6 years, the rate at which Nigeria imports forest materials is very embarrassing. So I think it's a very good bill. I will appeal to all our colleagues here, let us support it so that it will have a meaning. And if this is established, definitely states like Edo State, Ondo State, Ogun State will be able to establish College of Forestry in future, so that at least we can cut off importation of forest materials. So I support the bill genuinely.
Is anybody against the bill? Those in favor that this bill be now read a second time, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. Clerk of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, a bill for an act to establish the Federal College of Forestry, Technology and Research, ACAMPA, to provide full-time courses in forestry technology, preservation, development, and other fields of studies, and to make provisions for the general administration of the college and for other related matters therewith, 2021, SB 99, second reading.
A bill for an act to establish the Federal College of Forestry, Technology and Research, ACAMPA, to provide full-time courses in forestry technology, preservation, development, and other fields of studies, and to make provisions for the general administration of the college and for other related matters therewith, 2021, second reading taken. Okay. And the bill is referred to the Committee on Tertiary Institutions and Third Fund. Is it supposed to be tertiary institutions? Tertiary institutions? Okay. The bill is referred to the Committee on Tertiary Institutions and Third Fund to report back within 4 weeks. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, my highly respected and distinguished colleagues, the ninth order of the day is a motion standing in the name of distinguished Senator Obinna Ogba on the instant killings in Ebonyi State. Mr. President, you may wish to invite distinguished Senator Obinna Ogba to move the motion.
Distinguished Senator Obinna Ogba.
Thank you, Mr. President, distinguished colleagues. Obinna Ogba, Ebonyi Central. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, the Senate note with concern that the generating state of insecurity in Nigeria, which is now widespread in most parts of the country. The Senate notes that on Tuesday, 30th March 2021, suspected herdsmen unleashed mayhem at the Obago, Egedegede, and Kalaha community in the Igbesa clan, Ishelu local government of Ebonyi State, killing over 21 persons, injured many, with many shops, cars, and motorcycles burnt down. The Senate are aware that there have been consistent attacks in the 3 senatorial zones by suspected herdsmen, mostly especially at Isu in Onitsha local government area, Agba and Amata village in Afikpo North local government, both in Ebonyi South senatorial zones, Umogodapu, Ebele and Umogadu community in Ohuku local government, Ebonyi North senatorial zone. The Senate worried that there has been a lingering communal crisis between Effium and the Effium people in Ohuku local government area since January 2021, which has resulted in deaths of so many innocent persons, destruction of properties worth millions of naira, and thousands rendered homeless and jobless. The Senate worried also that on Monday, 19th April 2021, a communal crisis erupted between Ezilo and Iyun communities, both initially local government areas of Ebonyi State, with more than 2 people reportedly killed, and vehicular movement disrupted from commuters plying Abakaliki-Enugu Expressway. The Senate knows that the communal clash between Ikwo local government and Izi local government areas is taking a very dangerous dimension, with so many lives and property worth millions of naira lost and many displaced from their homes. The Senate observed that Ebonyi State, like some other states in the Southeast, has recorded an increase on the attack of police officers and police facilities in the states. The Senate are aware that on Wednesday, 14th April 2021, 3 policemen were shot dead at a checkpoint on Ebonyi Nwezin Road, Abakaliki, Ebonyi State, and their rifles taken away. The Senate recalls that in January this year, some headline attacks a police station in Oneke Eza South local government area, Ebonyi Central, killing 3 policemen and carted away their rifles. The Senate also recalls that in October 2020, hoodlums attacked a police station in Abakaliki, shot a police inspector, and stole his rifle. The Senate concludes that there is urgent need for intervention by the federal government to arrest these senseless killings, destructions and properties and other vices in order to save property or save people from untold hardship associated with this menace. The Senate accordingly resolved to 1. Condemn in the strongest terms the various attacks on communities in Ebonyi State by alleged herdsmen, leading to wanton destruction of lives and property. 2. Observe a minute silence in honor of the victims. 3. Urge the Nigerian police and other relevant security agencies to carry out a comprehensive investigation of this attack in order to arrest the perpetrators. 4. Urge the federal government to put appropriate measures in place to foster further attacks. And 5. Mandate the National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, to provide enough relief materials to all the disputed victims of the communities involved in community crisis, especially distinguished colleagues, Eza FM and the FM community, Ikwo and Izi local governments, all in Ebonyi State. I so moved, Mr. President. Thank you.
Senator Samuel.
Thank you, Mr. President. I remain Senator Sam Egu, representing Ebonyi North Senatorial District. I rise to support this motion moved by my colleague, Senator Binoba. Last week, Wednesday, I raised a motion under Order 42, 40, and 52. And the Senate graciously granted me permission, Mr. President, to lay my motion on this same issue. Ebonyi has become something else among the Southeast states. with regards to killings. We're now having a situation where the alleged herdsmen attacking communities in Ebonyi, and then the inter-communal crisis within Ebonyi State is also not helping matters. It has become so worrisome. Every day the governor is having Security Council meeting on ways to resolve this issue. Leaders are called. But as he's finishing the meeting, we are hearing about another crisis in another part of the state. It is so disturbing, Mr. President, and I wonder why Ebonyi that used to be a very peaceful state, very peaceful, has suddenly become the epicenter of killings and crisis within the Southeast. We're also wondering why the security outfit within the state has not been able to come to find the situation or find the cause of this crisis almost on a daily basis. Those of us from my point say we feel embarrassed that our peaceful state has become a theater of war. And I'm supporting this motion and feeling that the security agents should rise up to the occasion, while the state governor or the government should continue. Because as the chief security officer of the state, he should try to get to the root of it. And whoever is responsible, nobody should be spared. If he knows the person that is causing it, he should be bold to point out the person and meet the necessary punishment. That will act as deterrent. We have situations where some people in government, for example, the issue of EZA, and there's some people in my own local government, people who are responsible for that crisis are known. They're those serving in government. And because of issue of IGR, who is responsible for collecting IGR for government, these two people have caused the death of thousands of people, and they are in government. I think we should be able to call a spade a spade. Because the moment people who are responsible are punished, then others will now be able to know that nobody is a secret cow. So I feel that while we are trying to solve this problem, it's a collective situation where not only the government, but all of us are involved in trying to find a solution. But with a situation where people who are doing this are known, they should not be spared. That's my contribution, Mr. President.
We go to the prayers. Prayer 1, condemn in strongest terms the various attacks on communities in Ebonyi State by alleged herdsmen leading to wanton destruction of lives and properties. Those in favor of this prayer say aye. Those against say nay, the ayes. Prayer 2, observe a minute silence in honor of the victims. Those in favor of prayer 2 say aye. Those against say nay, the ayes. Prayer 3, urge the Nigerian police and other relevant security agencies to carry out a comprehensive investigation of these attacks in order to arresting and prosecuting the perpetrators. Those in favor of the prayer say aye. Those against say nay, the ayes. Prayer 4, urge the federal government to put appropriate measures in place to forestall further attacks. Those in favor of prayer 4 say aye. Those against say nay, the ayes. And prayer 5, mandate the National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, to provide enough relief materials to all the displaced victims of the communities involved in communal crisis, especially EZA, Ifyum communities, Iko and Izzi, local governments, all in Ebonyi State. Those in favor of prayer 5 say aye. Those against say nay, the ayes. Leader of the Senate. Additional prayer.
My additional prayer, Single President, distinguished colleagues, is observe 1 minute silence in honor of all those who lost their lives as a result of the insecurity in Ebonyi State.
Leader, that's prayer 2. That's prayer 2. Okay, additional prayer. Senator Samuel.
To ask the National Boundary Commission to immediately enforce or demarcate, because most of the crises about communal crisis on boundary issue, and the commission is not doing anything. A situation where, Mr. President, the Ebonyi and Cross River crisis is caused by a boundary.
So what is the additional prayer? Are they local government? Are they political boundaries? Are they political boundaries, or we want to create an ethnic boundary, right? But that will be, what will be the basis of creating the boundary? If it is not a geographical boundary, if it is ethnic, I don't think we should go that route.
Enforce, people are having different claims. So the government should be able to know the real boundary using the map to demarcate the authentic boundary.
Distinguished, if these people are different communities, but in the same local government, there are different local governments. But the boundaries between the two states are known. It means government has demarcated it. Okay. I need a seconder for the additional prayer. The acting minority leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. I second Gashambasi Cross River South. I second the motion, the additional prayer by Senator Samigu.
Thank you very much. Those in favor of the additional prayer, say aye. Those against, say nay. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, my highly respected and distinguished colleagues, the 10th order of the day is a motion. It's a motion standing in the name of distinguished Senator Yaro Dauda Binos and distinguished Senator Bulus Kilawang Amos on the urgent call for a stop of the communal clashes between Waja and Lunguda communities in Gombe South and Adamawa South senatorial districts, and the need for NEMA to provide relief materials to displaced persons. Mr. President, you may wish to invite distinguished Senator Binos Dauda Yaro to move this motion.
Before he does that, I think we need to observe a minute silence. May the souls of our departed compatriots rest in perfect peace. Amen. Leader of the Senate, you take that again, please.
Mr. President, my highly respected and distinguished colleagues, the 10th order of the day is a motion standing in the names of distinguished Senator Binos Dauda Yaro and distinguished Senator Bulus Kilawang Amos on the urgent call for a stop to the communal clashes between Waja and Lunguda communities in Gombe South and Adamawa South senatorial districts, and the need for NEMA to provide relief materials to the displaced persons. Mr. President, you may wish to invite distinguished Senator Binos Dauda Yaro to move the motion.
Senator Binos Dauda Yaro.
Thank you, Mr. President, distinguished colleagues. Let me start by expressing my appreciation for allowing me, under Order 42 yesterday, to bring this motion today. The motion is for an urgent call for a stop to the communal clashes between the Waja and Lunguda communities in Gombe South and Adamawa South senatorial districts, and the need for NEMA to provide relief materials to the displaced persons. The Senate notes that the various ethnic communities in Gombe South and Adamawa South have lived in peace with one another for centuries and share common culture. Concerned that in recent years, conflicts have broken out between the neighboring communities over simple disputes, especially when preparations for farming become imminent, leading to on several occasions, loss of lives and destruction of properties and displacement of communities. The Senate observes that communal clashes between the Waja and Lunguda communities who live on both sides of the Gombe State and Adamawa State borders and have their kith and kin on either side of the border, specifically in Balanga local government area of Gombe State and Guyuk local government area of Adamawa State. The Senate recalls that at about this time last year, a serious conflict broke out between the Waja and Lunguda communities in Lafia, Boshkiri towns and environs in Adamawa State, resulting in avoidable loss of lives and displacement of entire communities who were forced into emergency IDP camps. The Senate concerned that in the night of Monday, 12 April 2021, through the early hours of Tuesday 13th, another conflagration erupted in Nyuar and Jesu districts of Balanga local government in Gombe State, where the entire Nyuar district, Nyuar town was razed to the ground and Jesu village was partially burned down and many lives were lost, both communities being under the Waja chiefdom of Gombe State. The Senate appreciates the spirited efforts made by community and political leaders to douse the tension and restore peace in the aftermath of the conflict, and notes with concern, however, that again in the late hours of 14th April and into the early hours of 15th April, crisis once again erupted, this time on the Adamawa side of the border, and the following villages were attacked, houses burnt down, and lives were lost: Walu village, Falu village, Jiu village, Chikila village, and all these villages are under the Lunguda chiefdom of Adamawa State. The Senate worried above all that lives were lost, houses were burnt down, and people rendered homeless and displaced on both the Gombe and Adamawa side of the border, and aware that the primary role of government is the protection of lives and property of all its citizens, accordingly resolves as follows. 1. Direct NEMA to urgently provide relief materials to Nyuar, Jesu, Heme communities in Balanga local government of Gombe State, and Walu, Falu, Jiu, and Chikila communities in Guyuk local government area of Adamawa State that were recently affected by communal clashes. 2. Urge the traditional rulers of Waja chiefdom in Gombe State and Lunguda chiefdom in Adamawa State to impress on their subjects the need to maintain the peace and avoid resort to self-help in settling disputes. 3. Send a delegation to the two communities in Balanga local government area, Gombe State, and Guyuk local government area, Adamawa State, to commiserate with and preach peaceful coexistence to the people. And 4. Observe a 1-minute silence in memory of all those who recently lost their lives in all these villages. I so move.
Senator Ahmed Njumagoje.
Thank you, Mr. President. I am Mohammed Njumagoje, representing Gombe Central and Gombe State. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I stand to support this motion with a very heavy heart, because the two communities who are on the motion referred to in Gombe, for example, to the best of my knowledge, there have never been any communal conflict between these two communities. Because the two communities it refers to, in each of these communities, you can hardly get a person that's purely Lungu or Waja. Each family is related to one another, either through marriage, paternal or maternal. And they are believing in peace. But the story is, for some years, because of movements of people, they need to farm, some communities on the other side of the border, the Adamawa border, which also had the same tribes, Waja and Lungoda. For some reason best known to them there in Adamawa, they've been fighting themselves. They've been fighting over the years. Unfortunately, for the first time, this fight was exported into Gombe. But I want to say, in addition to whatever he said, the speaker said, the governor of Gombe State took very prompt action. He personally went there that very day. He went there physically with delegation, with the commissioner of police, with the military, and they were able to settle the matter. Fortunately, the district head of that village was my permanent secretary, and he later became the SSG of Gombe State, very enlightened person, and the matter was settled amicably. And we pleaded with the people on the other side, Adamawa side, not to export, because we cannot go beyond, we cannot go into Adamawa. I'm happy that he said he's appealing to the chief of Lunguda and Adamawa to appeal to his people. But the chief of Waja in Gombe State had done that already. The traditional rulers, religious leaders, the governor, everybody has sat down. They have actually resolved this matter. And hopefully, God will, inshallah, we hope this will never happen again. But we want to appeal to the senator, whose district includes that part of Adamawa State, to appeal to the same people, to the governor of Adamawa State. He should do the same thing. He has never visited the place, but the day this thing happened, our governor was there, but let the governor of Adamawa State also mobilize the traditional rulers there, the religious leaders there, the political leaders, including the senator himself and others, to go and sit down with these people. Like I told you, these people are the same people. Most of them are intermarried. And a lot of them speak both languages. They are the same people. So they should be prevailed upon to see the need for peaceful coexistence. And Mr. President, I also want to support the need for intervention by the federal government, because a lot of damage has been done. So many houses have been raised, including the house of the district head I refer to, the former SSG. His house was raised down completely 100%. And that village also, the immediate Chief Justice of Gombe State for the last 20 years is over from that village. His house also raised. So many houses were raised. And people are homeless now. So I want to support the prayer, particularly on the need for NEMA to intervene. But I want to, before I sit down, I want to repeat my call on the governor of Adamawa State and the government of Adamawa State and the traditional ruler of Lungoda in Adamawa State and the political leaders of Adamawa State to take decisive action to solve this problem. And I hope Allah will give them the courage to do that. Thank you very much. I support this.
Senator B.K. Amos is not in. Well, distinguished colleagues, we'll go to the prayers, but before then, let me also make a remark here that as leaders, we have the responsibility to ensure that our communities live in peace, no matter how heterogeneous such communities would be. We should continue to preach, also act in a way and manner that we encourage people to live in peace. It's when the country is in peace, or when our communities are in peace, that we can have the satisfaction that we are leading well. I believe that what happened in Gombe South and Adamawa South was such an unfortunate incident that at this point requires the full support of leaders from those areas to come together and get the communities to understand that it's only when you have peace that you can even go to farm. In many parts of this country, we know how difficult it is these days to even go to farm. So we shouldn't allow any community where we hold sway to go in a south direction, by manner of speaking. So I believe that this is a matter that we can put to rest completely when we put the right efforts at the right time. Thank you. We have some prayers. I think only 4 prayers, and we have to do that in 1 minute. The Senate accordingly resolves to direct NEMA to urgently provide relief materials to Yunwar, Jesu, Heme communities in Balanga local government, Gombe State, and Walu, Falu, Jew, and Chikila communities in Guyuk local government area, Adamawa State, recently affected by communal clashes. Those who have this prayer say aye. Those against say nay, the ayes have it. Prayer 2, urge the traditional rulers of Waja chiefdom in Gombe State and Lungu chiefdom in Adamawa State to impress on their subjects the need to maintain the peace and avoid resort to self-help in settling disputes. Those in favor of this prayer say aye. Those against say nay, the ayes have it. 3, send a delegation to the 2 communities in Balanga local government, Gombe State, and Guyuk local government, Adamawa State, to commiserate with and preach peaceful coexistence to the people. Those in favor of this prayer say aye. Amendment. We rush it. Leader.
To be just in line with what our distinguished leader, former Governor Danjuma Boja said, urge the Governor of Adamawa State to pay a visit to the affected communities in Adamawa State, with a view to impressing on the communities to stay with each other in peace.
Leader, can we say the political leaders rather than Governor of Adamawa State? Yeah, let's not be too exact like that. Yeah, when we say political leaders, that includes all these people rather than saying Governor of Adamawa State. So we just leave it like that. The political leaders, right? Like suggested by, so that's the amendment. Or you still want the governor? Okay. Okay. Those in favor of prayer, secondment, the acting minority leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. Gashambasi Crossbar South, I so second.
Those in favor of prayer 3 as amended, say aye. Those against say nay, the ayes have it. And the last prayer, no, that's the last prayer. Those in favor of prayer 4 as amended, say aye. Those against say nay, the ayes have it. Leader of the Senate, I think we just have to adjourn.
Mr. President, we have come to the official time when we should close. I will therefore move a motion.
We observe 1 minute silence, isn't it? Somebody is saying something. 1 minute silence. May the souls of our departed compatriots rest in perfect peace. Amen. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, having come to a statutory period for determination of our proceedings for the day, I rise to move a motion for this distinguished chamber to step down the consideration on all other items on the order paper to another legislative day. I so move.
Minority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. I so second the motion moved by.
Those distinguished colleagues, those in favor of the motion that we stand down the consideration of the remaining items on the order paper, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, I rise to move a motion for the adjournment of the sittings of this chamber to Tuesday, 27th, to Tuesday, 27th April 2021. I so move.
Minority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. I so second that this Senate be adjourned till Tuesday, the 27th of April.
Distinguished colleagues, those in favor of the motion that the Senate do adjourn till Tuesday, 27th day of April 2021 at 10 a.m. from say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. The Senate is hereby adjourned till Tuesday, 27th day of April 2021 at 10 a.m. prompt. Thank you.